Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining me. My name is Heather Lund. I'm the Director of Customer Success with ConexED. It's been a crazy couple of weeks, I'm sure, for each one of you. We're excited to help you begin using ConexED to support students or expand the use of online student support using our platform. We are browser-based. You simply use a Chrome, Firefox, or Edge browser to connect. We are FERPA and HIPAA compliant and ADA WCAG 2.1 conformant. As a quick reminder, we are in our classroom space. For those of you who have been using ConexED, you may be more familiar with our cafe space. Classrooms was designed as our larger meeting space, ideal for instruction, workshops, orientations, really that moderator or presenter and attendee model. It is one moderator and up to 100 participants with 4 total audio and video streams. So the moderator and a small panel, or leaving it open for students to ask questions. I'd like to ask, as we begin going through, and I've put the agenda here in the body of the classroom, but as we begin reviewing, if you can, hold your questions until the end, and we'll leave some time for Q&A and answer any questions that you may have. Everyone should be able to see and hear me, but I cannot see or hear you. If you are not able to hear me, please let me know and we can work to resolve. And then we will begin. So I'm going to share my screen and we will start with the student experience. And you can click on what I'm sharing and it will expand to full view. We will start with our student experience, ways that students can connect. Now, keep in mind that ConexED allows you, what you're doing is you're giving students the power to engage. You determine those contact options, and those contacts are determined or added to your ConexED card. So you're making yourself available for students to connect with you. We have this is our counseling and academic advising site. Similar to your counseling webpage or any student support service site at your school, you can add and make yourself available. So here we have some information, ways that students can connect, and some quick information for students to read so they're familiar with those processes, and our ConexED cards. Each of us, for this example, are counselors in our counseling group. We each have our own ConexED card, and within our ConexED card is our contact option. And then here you'll notice my status shows as online. When my status is online, this knock on door option appears. Our knock on door is a virtual drop-in. When a student selects knock on door, the first thing that appears is the informed consent statement. The next is the login page, and the login is determined by group. So everything is really customized at the group level, the setup and configuration. Each group can determine those login types that are appropriate. Here, that knock on door initiates as a chat. So I see the student is asking a question. And what I see on my side as a counselor is the same. So I see that chat box as well. Again, it initiates as a chat. Here, I can view the chat tools. I can view student details, any meeting notes, history within our ConexED platform. I can see here by viewing the student details. I can continue to chat with the student, but save it as a meeting, adding notes or reason codes. It would be tied to the student meeting history. Others who went in to look at history or information would see that. So it's really tracking that chat as a meeting. I can send to another moderator. The student connected with our counseling and advising group, but they really need financial aid or another student support service area. I can send that student to another moderator. And if that other moderator is online, this chat box is removed from my screen and appears on that moderator's screen. They can see the full chat history and continue to communicate with the student. It's that seamless transition. If they are offline or away, it will still send the chat to them, but it will come over as an email so they can follow up with the student. Okay, so they can see all of that communication and then simply follow up. Sometimes it's easier to simply open your door and invite the student into your cafe or virtual office. Opening your door, just similar to the classroom space that we're in now, is inviting the student into the cafe. So the student would enter the cafe on their end for that face-to-face. Now, when a student enters, they are going to see lobby options. This is my personal lobby, but this is also representative of what would happen if you have multiple students entering. We do have a shared virtual lobby space, just like the reception area outside of your office. When you're meeting with a student in your cafe, the next student who enters will enter the lobby. And when they enter the lobby, they would select a reason code, why they'd like to meet, what they'd like to discuss. Those reason codes are specific to the group. And then we do have a lobby welcome message. The student is actually in my personal lobby. But here we're going to see that cafe. So the cafe and classrooms, again, a lot of similar features. One that we're meeting in now, our classrooms, is our larger meeting space. And the cafe is really that face-to-face or smaller session that you're used to. That is one contact option, so the virtual drop-in. Another way that students can connect is the ability to send an offline message. This is an email. It would come to the .edu email address that's associated with your ConexED account. This can be enabled or disabled. When it is enabled, here our defaults are subject and message, but you can customize that email template. If you would like to ask specific questions, gather specific information, it can be customized and the student would complete that form as part of that email process. We also have the ability for students to schedule an appointment. Again, the informed consent statement and login. And it's really going to allow the student to schedule an appointment based on need. And that need is defined by reason code. Each reason code can have a set duration. For example, approval to exceed is 15 minutes. First year advising is 30. We have new school setup, discuss probation, different increments for each reason code. And the student selects one or more reason codes, the meeting location, video meeting, date, and then time. It's going to show available times based on the criteria above. It's a filtering process. The student selects a time that works best with their schedule and completes the intake form. The intake form is customized at that group level and allows you to gather additional information from students prior to meeting. In addition to the reason code that they've selected when they schedule the appointment, you have the information that they provided as part of the intake form process. You don't have to spend the first 5 or 10 minutes asking these questions. The students can answer those questions when they schedule the appointment, and then you are more prepared and can begin that appointment without asking these additional questions. Now here, as part of the intake form, you'll notice we have a red asterisk. Any questions can be required questions. So a student would need to complete those as part of that process. It is defined by this red asterisk. We also have a text message opt-in. A student will receive an email confirmation and an email reminder automatically. But if a student enters their phone number and selects this option, they will also receive 2 text message reminders for that appointment. The text and email templates are customizable, so you can provide additional information for your students as well and schedule. And then the last option that we have that can be added as a button to the ConexED card or a link, the schedule appointment can also be a link, but is the ability for students to register for webinars or events, sessions that are being hosted within your classroom. This is similar to how you registered to join and participate in today's session. It's simply allowing you to show and create the different events. Once they register, here is the registration form. The registration form is specific to that event, similar to the intake form. For a scheduled appointment, the registration form allows you to gather additional information from students. And for online classroom sessions, you can limit the number of participants. Even though it allows you to have 100 students join you in your classroom, you can limit the number. And we have a waitlist option as well, but you can gather the information from the registration form using our reporting. You can not only gather those registration form responses, but for the classroom online event, it's going to take attendance for you automatically. It will also let you know what time a student joined and if they left early. So you can see all of that information. Now, once a student registers for those classroom events, it will send them an email confirmation and an email reminder as well. And those templates are customizable. So a few different ways that students can connect. Now, please keep in mind, every group within ConexED has the ability to determine those contact options, how they would like students to connect, and each group is set up and configured to run independently from one another. If you'd like to begin supporting students using one contact option and then continue to add or expand and add additional options, you can do that as well. It's a very flexible system, and it's really up to you. We do have a lot of resources and information available as well. So different ways that students can connect. Now, to log in to ConexED, each school has their own ConexED private platform. Each platform has their own specific URL link. And some of you may have already saved it as a favorite on your computer. If not, you can find that login and that URL if you'd like to save it by simply coming to conexed.com. From here, you can select login and find your school's login page. So you just search for your school. I'm just going to search for a school and select and take me there. And here is that specific URL. Now this can be saved as a favorite, then I don't need to go through the additional clicks or options, or you can always go through ConexED, okay? And because we're browser-based, you can access this from anywhere. Now, once you're logged in, you're going to, this is my ConexED platform, but you will see your photo, your name, title, information in the upper left-hand corner. We're going to go through the card customization process in a moment, but here is where you're going to change your status. If you are available for students to connect through the knock on door, change your status as online. When you are online, again, that knock on door feature will appear. If you are unavailable or it's not the time, the designated time for those virtual drop-ins or knock on door, you can change your status to away or offline. And offline and away will both show that knock on door option will be removed. Now, if you aren't offering knock on door, just simply leave your status as offline, and then it will remain as offline. When you log out and log back in, you don't need to come in and make a change to that status. It's going to appear as the last status when you logged out. Now here, the next option is our student support directory. Our student support directory, if a student logged in or if you wanted to connect with your colleagues, you can find contacts here in the student support directory. Any groups and group users, those who are meeting and supporting students, can be found here. So again, if a student logged into your platform, instead of looking or finding contact options for each of the websites where your cards are embedded, they could come and find a comprehensive view of everyone who's available here. Now, to customize your card, simply come to Customize Card from the left-hand panel. And here, your name and your email are going to come over based on your login. You can add your title. If you would like a student to be able to email you through your ConexED card, send offline messaging, leave this option checked. To disable or turn off that option, it's going to appear grayed out and a student will not be able to select. Simply remove this check mark. Now for telephone number, you can add your cell phone number, provide your carrier, and opt in to receive text message reminders for meetings if you'd like. You can have your office number, you can leave it blank, and you can come in and make changes to your card at any time as well. We do have an office address field if you'd like. So if you'd like to have information for your office, your building and room number, for example, you can do that. And then we do have extra fields that can be used for several options. I like the extra field value if you're offering that knock on door, the virtual drop-in, and you have dedicated times for that feature or contact option. You can use the extra field for that field title, and then the field value would be the times. And it's a great way for you to come in and easily make changes. So if your hours change or you're not going to be available for 1 week to offer this option, you can remove it. It's not hard-coded on your website. You don't need to work with your webmaster or IT to make changes. It's going to be reflected correctly on your ConexED card, and wherever that's available for students to see, they know when you're going to be available for that contact option. Here, add your photo. It's a great way for a student to put a face with a name before they meet with you. And then you can add a biography. Now I'm going to show you what it looks like for Mike. Here, for Mike, he has his bio, and a student would click to read and it will expand. Okay, so you can add a bio, meta tag, and then each of these button options, knock on door, schedule appointment, send offline message, each of those button options, the text can be customized. Some schools, instead of using knock on door as the verbiage, they have it as live chat or connect with me. So you can really tailor this verbiage as well. And then you can add or remove that webinar button on your ConexED card. So if you have times when you're offering events, you can add it or you can remove it here. And then you can also make your email visible, make your phone number visible, set your status to away when you're in a cafe meeting. If you're offering the knock on door, a student comes into your cafe, it's going to automatically change your status to away. It removes that knock on door option. So it's a good way to also just ease in to using the platform or getting more familiar. And then you can turn off or disable the ability for students to schedule an appointment by selecting this option and save. Now, the next thing we're going to go over is calendar and scheduler settings, creating office hours, availability. When you are offering appointment options, whether it's a student scheduling an appointment or you'd like to have your support staff schedule for you, you are going to make yourself available by creating office hours, and you will do that by selecting calendar and scheduler settings from the left-hand panel. And then we're going to see 3 tabs. The first tab is calendar. This is where you create your office hours, and I need to come in and probably clean up. I'm in several groups, but I'm going to see my office hours and create office hours by dragging and dropping, and you see a little blue, light blue highlight and create office hours. Now, if the start time and end time, start or end or both are incorrect, simply use this X and you can type in the numeric value. It can be a single event or recurring. I'm available for the same time or at the same time on Mondays and Saturdays, for example, my start date and then an end date. You can put in an end date or leave it open, and then those hours will continue until you make a change or delete the series. Now here you will select the group that those office hours apply to. So I'm going to select counseling. And if you are part of multiple groups, you will follow the same process and create office hours for each group that you are associated with. How you're available, video, telephone, maybe just video, you can determine. And then reason codes. The reason codes that are associated with your group. I'm available to meet with students for all reason codes, or during this time, I can't discuss probation or new school. So I'm available for the other reason codes. You can determine how you're available. And as part of that filtering process, it will show your availability correctly based on the reason codes that are selected. And then create. Those office hours are going to be available again for students. If you give students the ability to self-schedule, they will see this as an available option, or your support staff as well. The next tab is scheduler settings. Now, scheduler settings, some of these options default as a group setting, and some are applicable for non-group if you are offering faculty office hours, for example. So here under scheduler settings, your time zone should default based on your ConexED account and the school that you're associated with. If not, just simply use the drop-down option to correct. Your default meeting length, this would, if you're part of a group, it's going to be determined by reason code and the duration of that reason code. For faculty non-group office hours, you would select that meeting length here. Scheduler time buffer, this is an individual setting. This is the amount of advance notice you need before an appointment. Users can schedule a meeting. For example, I have a 1 hour buffer. It's 10:30. If I have an 11:30 appointment time open, after 10:30, a student would not be able to schedule that appointment. So I want to give myself a little bit of a buffer. I'm not caught off guard. I can give myself enough time to prepare for that meeting, and I don't need to rush. So I'm giving myself a span of time, and it's defined here. The next is scheduling time frame limit. Now, again, this is part of a group setting, so just how far in advance a student can schedule an appointment. But this would apply for faculty, non-group office hours, how far in advance here. If you would like to receive meeting reminder emails, you can select the duration here before that appointment or select never. You will receive an email confirmation when that appointment is scheduled, but here you can determine if you would like to receive an email reminder. If you want to turn that off, just select never and save. And the last tab is our calendar integration. We do have calendar integration options with Outlook, Office 365, and Google. I use Outlook. Any appointments that are scheduled in ConexED are automatically placed on my Outlook calendar. I don't need to accept them. They are automatically placed there. It also means if I have events in Outlook that are marked as busy, they will come over on my ConexED calendar. If they conflict or coincide with scheduled office hours, my office hours or availability in ConexED, it's automatically going to block that time off. It eliminates double booking, and students or my support staff cannot schedule an appointment when those events are coming over, and they just block out my office hours automatically. We do have videos and resources to help with calendar integrations, and I'll show you where you can find that information at the end of this meeting. When you do have cafe meetings or scheduled appointments, you can see them under Campus Calibrate. I'll also show you how you can easily join, but your meetings are going to be placed, your office hours, everything is really here under Campus Calibrate. It's our scheduling system, and also shows appointments, tracking information. Now we are structured to replicate how you are structured on campus. We have a department shell and then one or more groups within that each department shell. Each group is set up and configured to run independently from one another. And if I look at counseling, and you may be part of one or more groups, but you would have access to the groups that you are assigned to. Okay, and this is our platform, so yours may look differently. And then here we're going to focus on 3 different tabs: the calendar, student lookup, and the reports tab. The first is the calendar tab. I'm going to see my office hours here in gray, and any of my scheduled appointments in orange or different colors based on meeting type or location. So here, most of my meetings are video meetings, so they appear in orange. Now I can click on the appointment, and it's going to open up the appointment details. I can see who the student is, student ID, that reason code or reason codes, who created the appointment, what's happening. I can view any notes for the student. I can view the student details, and we'll go over the student lookup tab as well, but I can view information here. It will also allow me to see the intake form. So instead of referring back to my email confirmation, I can simply look at the intake form tab and see what information was provided or how that intake form was completed. Okay, so I can see that information here. We also have an end of meeting survey that is customized at the group level. You would see end of meeting survey and then a staff review form also customized at this group level. The last tab is our notes and reason codes. Any reason codes that are associated with that group can be found here. It's a permission as well. But within this notes and reason codes tab, if you'd like to track that meeting within our system, you can do that here. If the student selected an incorrect reason code when that appointment was scheduled, or you talked about additional items, you can track that by selecting the appropriate reason codes here and adding notes. It is tied to that student meeting history, and others can see that information as well. Now, notes are marked as public by default, so anyone with a faculty staff role or above and assigned to a group would be able to see those notes. But you can mark it as private, and only you can see that note. Others can see that appointment history, but cannot see the note associated, or local. And only those in your group, so this example would be our counseling group, those added to our counseling group as a faculty staff or above role would be able to see that student note and save. Here, we do have a few different views. Most are using this day view, which is the default, but I will show a few options here as well. You can change to a week view, and it's just going to scroll day over day. Okay, and see information, or a check-in and details view, and it's just going to show the meetings here. And again, I can click on it and it opens the appointment details. I can jump to a specific day. It's easier through the day view. So I can jump to a specific day or come back to today. And we do have calendar settings, customizing that calendar view. If you'd like, here are defaults for start and end for the display are 7 a.m. to midnight, but maybe you're only available from 9 until 6, for example. You can change that display. It's going to clean up the view. And this is an individual option. Here are time slots. So the increment that you see, the times here, and visibility. So if you just only want to look at your calendar, I can simply select and look at my calendar. Now we do have some groups who their setting by default will only allow faculty staff to see their own calendars. But if I choose to and have the ability to see others, I can choose who I'd like to see. I can also hide and only show those who have office hours for that day. So a few different options. So you'll notice it removed Mike from this view. The next is student lookup. The student lookup allows us to see meeting history or notes, or even schedule an appointment going through a filtering process if you choose to do that. And then your front desk can complete that intake form as well, going through the student lookup process. You simply search for the student by name, student ID, or email. If that student account is not created in our system, you can add a new student record here. I can search for a student and select. And then here I can see any meeting history for that student. Any completed appointments are in black. Any upcoming or future appointments are in green. And any canceled or no-show appointments appear in red. I can always view by selecting this magnifying glass icon. And again, it opens up the appointment details. I can view information here, schedule meetings, and it looks similar to a student scheduling. Register a student for a workshop. This is one way to do that. Email the student, and also alerts. Now, the last tab you would see as a faculty staff role is the reports tab. We have many reports available, and we're not going to go through them. That would take a lot of time, but you would be able to pull reports for your own meeting history. Your group manager can pull reports for all members of your team, but you can pull reports for your own meeting history here. We do have reports for those customized forms, so the intake, end of meeting survey, staff review. And then our detailed report is our master appointment report, high-level statistics, and a lot of information as well. So a lot of reports and information are available to you. As you're looking at the reports, if you have specific questions, please let us know. Now, when you do have an appointment, you can come and be prepared and look at the intake form and information here from the appointment details. But to join a cafe meeting that's been scheduled, instead of referring back to your email confirmation and copying and pasting the link, you can simply come to Cranium Cafe, My Cafe Appointments. Your appointments will appear here. And 5 minutes before the start of that appointment, there will be a Join Cafe option. If you select the Join Cafe option, that cafe meeting will open in a new browser tab or window and open it up for you. You don't have to copy and paste this meeting link here or from the email confirmation. Simply use the Join Cafe option. And then you'll notice here that this cafe meeting, because of FERPA and HIPAA protection, it's got that identifier at the end, that only those who are invited to participate will receive that link. If a student forwards that link to a friend, they can join, but they will come to your lobby. So you choose to bring them in or ask questions in that lobby space. They won't automatically join that cafe. Now, when you're in a cafe or using the classroom, because the features are similar in both areas, both are really designed to replicate those in-office interactions. Here, you'll notice I have been sharing my screen. It is one share screen at a time, and I'm going to bring this screen over. But a student or any participants in a cafe would be able to share their screen. Again, one share screen at a time. In a classroom, a moderator or presenter would be able to share their screen. Again, one share screen at a time. The first time you share your screen, you will have to add a quick Chrome extension, but I can select which monitor I'd like to share. I have 2 monitors, and I have everything that I'd like to share on one monitor, my personal information, emails, instant messaging on a separate monitor, and keep them different. But I can always move things over from one to another. The share screen allows you to help a student find resources, navigate, or even using it to share your screen if you're using it to show the SIS or educational plans, creating educational plans. You can use that share screen. It's a great resource. And the share screen is captured as part of the meeting archive if the meeting is recorded. The meeting moderators have the ability to stop or start the recording, so they can start the recording at any time. If it's read, it is recording, and those meetings that are recorded are archived and can be viewed and accessed later. If it's not recording, it's not archived. The next is our document upload share. And here we have a few different options. We'll go over them. The first is upload document. This is your document library. All of those forms or documents you use on a regular basis can be uploaded here under My Documents. It is an individual document library. If you would like your team to have the same resources and information available in their document libraries, I would recommend creating a document. It could be a shared Google Doc or something that's available. Send it out to your team and say, these are the documents that we'd like everyone to have available in their document library. Now here, once they're uploaded, again, My Documents, those are stored across all meetings, generic forms available at all times. But at the bottom, you can upload meeting documents. And that is a student-specific or meeting-specific. Once it's uploaded and shared in this space, at the end of the meeting, it is removed from your document library. Here I can share, and it sends as a link in the chat. Once I open, it opens in our whiteboard space. And when you open it in the whiteboard, it converts it to a flat file or a PDF. In this space, we have the palette of tools to complete that form or document. And as the moderator, I can unlock. Now the participant or participants have the same visibility to the palette of tools, and it becomes a form that we can complete together. I can use a text option and start filling in information. And you'll notice some are using, but in this space, I can come and use, again, a text tool, a check mark tool. I can even capture a signature. Even if a student is locked out, I can capture a signature and assign that signature space using our signature tool. Here, I'm just saying, okay, this is that signature area, and I can select who needs to sign, and I'll just select someone here and assign. Now, if Matt were to click on that signature box, not in the share screen, but in the classroom itself, it's going to open up a signature box similar to DocuSign and capture his signature using his mouse. I can use change colors and highlight. I can also sign using this pencil tool. And some have asked, instead of signing and using the mouse, if they can have a signature that's an image and then paste it wherever they need. Yes, you can. Just upload and then paste it in the appropriate area. Okay. Now, once that form is complete, simply save. It saves to your download folder. Students have access to save as well, so they can save the document once it's completed. You don't need to email. There isn't a FERPA violation, and it doesn't take you any more time if the student saves in this space. Okay, so the document library. The next option, polls are specific to classrooms. It allows you to send out a question, make sure that students are engaged, actively listening, ask those quick questions throughout the session and gather responses, and even share those responses with participants in that classroom space. We have two options here as well, My Polls, stored across all meetings, or Meeting Polls specific to that event or classroom session. Now here I can start, and every one of you will receive that poll question pop up on your screen. You can answer it, and then I would be able to see as the moderator the detailed responses, but I can also share the summarized responses by coming to polls. Okay, and I can see details here. Okay, and share. Now this polls option is specific to classrooms, but a few things we wanted to go over. Okay. The next option under Document Upload Share is whiteboards. This is essentially a blank sheet of paper, same palette of tools, lock and unlock feature. If I unlock, all of you have access to the tools, and you can come in and you can start using the tools. This is a great way to chart or map something out with students. We have some instructors or tutoring groups who are also using this space. Yeah, so you can come in, look at the tools and options. We'll let you play with it for just a moment. And then again, it can be saved. Okay. Another option within this space is EditPad. EditPad is great for text, an internal meeting or meeting with the students. You'd like to do a meeting note or recap or have the students write some goals or objectives. EditPad is a great option. And then Google Docs, the ability to collaborate with Google Docs. You simply paste the link. It's a doc sheet or a slide option. We paste the link here, open, and then it's presented within this space as well. So you don't need to share that link with a student, but you can provide information using Google Docs. Just like in classrooms, we do have breakout rooms, and we have a separate video resource for classrooms and some specific classroom features. But in both spaces, we also have an invite link. You can simply email and invite participants to existing classroom or cafe meetings. In the classroom space, you can open or lock, and we do have keyboard shortcuts, as well as closed captioning. In both spaces, we have real-time closed captioning. It is 95% or more accurate if you're speaking slowly, enunciating, and we do recommend the dedicated use of headset with mic. As the meeting moderator, I can come in and I can edit closed captions. Anything that is picked up in this closed captioning is tied to a meeting archive as the transcript when that meeting is recorded. Participants have the ability to hide or view captions, and they can change the size of their font here. So a few different options within the classroom space, as well as the cafe. If you are recording sessions, you can access those archives from the left-hand panel and selecting archives. Now, archives may take up to 24 hours to publish and be available to review or play back, but you can look at any chat history here. Well, there's no chat history in some of this. I can also play back the archive, and I can view the archive in its entirety or watch one particular portion or person. Okay. Now I can export as an MP4 or view the information here, which includes the transcript or that closed captioning. Now, if I'd want to share that archive with a non-participant, I can do that. From a classroom, only the moderator needs to publish and grant access. But for a cafe meeting, the moderator and all participants need to come and publish, and that gives access or permission for non-participants to be able to view. If you send the link to the archive to a non-participant and that publish process is not complete, they will receive an access denied message. It is that FERPA and HIPAA protection. And then because we've covered a lot of information, and sometimes it's really easier to manage in smaller chunks, we have updated our help center. It's our support page. And we're creating and adding smaller resources and videos that are specific to topics. So if you're looking at a specific topic, you can find resources here, and those videos are fewer than 7 minutes. So you can find information quickly and easily.